1 hour before my wedding, I found out the truth, and I made a choice that changed everything. My name is Daniel. This is the story of how my best friend and my fiancée destroyed my life and how I destroyed them back. I was 31, software engineer, good salary, nice apartment in Chicago. Life was exactly on track. I met Claire at a friend's birthday party. She was wearing a red dress and laughing at something I hadn't even said yet. We dated for 2 years. She was a teacher, patient, warm, the kind of person who remembers everyone's coffee order. Marcus, my best friend since freshman year of college. Loud, funny, the kind of guy who could talk his way into, or out of, anything. Marcus introduced Claire and me. He was the first one I called after our first date. The first one I told when I bought the ring. When I proposed to Claire, Marcus was hiding behind a tree nearby, filming it all. He cried harder than she did. I asked Marcus to be my best man the same night. He said, and I quote, "I would die for you, man." Wedding planning started. Claire handled most of it. Her father, a wealthy real estate developer named Richard, funded everything. Richard didn't like me at first. Too ordinary, he said. But over 2 years, I won him over. He even got Marcus a job at his firm. Marcus started at Richard's firm 6 months before the wedding. He and Claire started working late together on projects. I didn't think anything of it. Looking back now, the signs were there. Claire canceling plans, Marcus being too busy to hang out, moments I explained away. But I was busy too, finishing a big project at work, trusting the people closest to me. That was my mistake. The wedding date was set, venue booked, 150 guests. Everything was perfect. Or so I thought. 1 week before the wedding, Marcus threw me a bachelor party. It was a great night. He gave a speech about loyalty that made me tear up. Wedding morning, I woke up at 7 a.m., calm, happy, ready. I had breakfast alone in my hotel room, eggs, coffee, orange juice. I remember thinking, this is the last breakfast of my old life. By 9 a.m., the groomsmen were in my room, champagne, bad jokes, getting dressed. Marcus kept checking his phone. I didn't notice then. At 10:30 a.m., we drove to the venue, a beautiful converted estate outside the city. Richard had spared no expense. The venue inside was breathtaking, white and gold everywhere, flowers I couldn't name, a string quartet warming up in the corner. At 10:55 a.m., guests started arriving. I was standing near the altar, watching the room fill up. Everything felt surreal. At 11 a.m., I realized I still had the wedding rings in my jacket pocket. I needed to give them to Marcus. I asked one of the other groomsmen where Marcus was. He shrugged, said he'd seen him go toward the east wing 10 minutes ago. I followed the corridor. It was quiet back there, away from the music and guests, just the sound of my own footsteps. And then I heard it. Voices, low, coming from behind a door at the end of the hall. I recognized them immediately. Marcus's voice first, then Claire's laugh. That specific laugh, the one I thought was only for me. I pressed closer to the door, and I heard Marcus say, "After today it doesn't matter, he'll never know." And then Claire, "I know, I feel terrible." And Marcus, "Don't, you love him, just not the same way you love me." Those words, I've replayed them 1,000 times. Not the same way you love me, my best friend, my fiancé. For how long? I stepped back from the door, my hands were shaking, my mind was going 100 miles an hour, and then something strange happened. The shaking stopped, the panic cleared, and one single thought arrived. I am going to end both of them. 4 minutes. That's how long I stood in that corridor doing math, who to call, what to say, what order, what evidence I already had. First call, my lawyer, David. 3 rings. "Daniel, isn't today your—" I cut him off. "David, I need the prenup situation clarified, right now." There was no prenup. Claire had asked to skip it. I'd agreed because I trusted her. David confirmed. Everything we had was joint marital property after the vows. After the vows, I would have been exposed, but we hadn't said them yet. I had exactly 1 hour of protection left. Second call, Richard, Claire's father, the man funding this entire wedding and Marcus's employer. Richard answered on the first ring. I told him everything I heard, word for word, exactly as it happened. He was silent for a very long time, then he said 4 words, "I'll handle my end." And I knew this wasn't just a personal betrayal anymore. This was war. I put my phone away, fixed my tie, straightened my jacket, and I walked back into that wedding venue, smiling. The ceremony started at noon exactly. The string quartet played something beautiful, 150 people in their seats smiling. Marcus stood next to me at the altar. I could feel him looking at me. I stared straight ahead, composed, unreadable. The doors opened, the music swelled, and there she was. Claire, in her white dress, walking toward me. She was stunning. She reached the altar. She took my hands. Her hands were warm. She looked me in the eyes and smiled. She had no idea what was coming. The minister began. Standard ceremony words. Dearly beloved, love and cherish, through sickness and health. Words I'd heard 100 times. I could hear my heartbeat. I could feel Marcus 2 feet to my right. The plan was in motion. All I had to do was wait for the right moment. And then it came, the moment I'd been waiting for since 11 a.m. The minister looked up at the room and said those famous words. If anyone here has reason to object to this union, speak now, or forever hold your peace. 4 seconds of silence, and then I raised my hand. I heard a guest gasp, then another. The music stopped mid-note. The string quartet went silent, and I had the floor. I looked at the minister, then at Claire, then at Marcus, and I said very calmly, I have something to say. I told them everything, exactly what I heard. I described the corridor, the door, the voices. I repeated their words back to them, word for word. Marcus went pale. I watched the color drain from his face in real time. He opened his mouth, closed it, couldn't find a single word. Claire started crying. Not guilty tears, shocked tears. The kind that say, I can't believe he knows. Richard was in the second row. I saw him stand up. He looked at his daughter, then at Marcus, and he nodded at me. 150 guests. Complete silence. Then came the whispers. Then came the crying. Then came the chaos. I didn't raise my voice once. I was the calmest person in that room, and somehow that made it worse for them. Marcus tried to speak. He said it was complicated. He said Claire was confused. He said he was sorry. I let him finish. Then I said, I know, and so does Richard. I watched Marcus remember who Richard is, who his boss is, who his landlord is. Marcus sat down. He didn't say another word for the rest of the ceremony, which lasted approximately 4 more minutes. The minister didn't know what to do. A guest, a woman from Claire's side, started filming on her phone. Good. I turned to Claire. She was still crying. I said, I love you, I did, but I deserved better than this, and so did you. I walked out of the ceremony at 12:09 p.m. alone, without looking back. The doors closed behind me. I called an Uber, sat on the stone steps of the venue, loosened my tie, took 3 deep breaths, and felt free. Within the hour, Richard had made 3 calls. First, Marcus was fired from his firm. His security card deactivated while he was still at the venue. Second call, the apartment Marcus lived in was owned by one of Richard's LLCs. He had 60 days to vacate. Third call, Richard canceled the wedding reception. All the food, the band, the flowers, everything gone. Richard ate the cost himself. I found out later that Claire tried to explain to her father. He didn't want to hear it. She moved back into her childhood home that week. Marcus sent me 17 text messages that first day. I read all of them. I responded to 0. My lawyer filed paperwork the next morning. Not for money. There was nothing to take since we never married. Just to create a clear legal record. Protection. I took a week off work. My company was understanding. I went to my parents' house in Michigan. My mom made soup. My dad said almost nothing, which was exactly right. Day 3 at my parents' house, I got a call from one of Claire's bridesmaids. She said the whole friend group was in shock, that Claire was devastated. I felt something interesting when she said that. Not satisfaction, not anger, just distance, like watching a movie about someone else's life. 2 weeks later, I was back at work. I got a promotion 3 months after that. Funny how clarity does that. Removes distractions, sharpens focus. I heard through mutual friends that Marcus and Claire actually tried to date, officially, after everything. It lasted 11 weeks. Apparently, when the forbidden romance part was gone, when they could actually be together openly, there was nothing there. Imagine that. At month 4, I started therapy. Not because I was falling apart, because I wasn't, and I wanted to understand why I was okay. My therapist said something that stuck with me. She said, "You didn't lose a future. You got your future back." At month 5, I booked a flight to Tokyo. Solo trip. Something I'd always wanted to do but kept putting off because we were saving for a house. Tokyo was everything. The food, the streets, the energy. I wandered for hours with no plan. I ate alone at the counter of a tiny ramen shop and felt more at peace than I had in years. Month 6. Tokyo rooftop bar. City spread out below me. That's when Marcus's message arrived. "I'm sorry. Please forgive me." I read the message 3 times. Then I set my phone face down on the bar. I looked out at Tokyo, and I ordered another drink. I also got a message from Claire that night. "I'm sorry, Daniel. I was weak. I hope someday you can forgive me." I read it once, then deleted it. Some people called what I did cruel, standing up at the altar, humiliating them publicly. Maybe they're right. But I was handed a choice no one should have to make. It's been 2 years since the wedding that wasn't. I want to tell you where everyone is now. Marcus, last I heard he's working at a mid-level company, renting a small apartment across town. We haven't spoken. Claire, she's teaching again, apparently doing well. I hold no anger toward her anymore. I hope she finds what she's actually looking for. Richard. He and I actually have lunch every few months. He apologized for doubting me when we first met. He said he was a better judge of character after all this. Me. I'm good. Actually good. Not performing fine to not worry people. Good. Genuinely, quietly, solidly good. I'm dating again. Early stages. Someone who makes me laugh in a way I forgot I could. No rush, no pressure. Just seeing where it goes. If I could go back, would I change anything? I used to say yes. Now I say, I'd change who I trusted, not who I was. Some people are placed in your life to show you who you are. Others are placed there to show you who you're not. Claire and Marcus, they showed me both. The version of me that walked out of that venue on those stone steps. He was broken, but he was also finally free, and free was a better place to start from. I posted this story on Reddit 6 months ago. Here's what people said. Top comment from user throwawayjustice99. You didn't object. You protected yourself. There's a difference. Second top comment from Midwestmom_real. The fact that you kept your composure the entire time says everything. You didn't just react. You responded. Respect. And my personal favorite from user Strategic Daniel fan. The call to Richard was the move. That's not revenge. That's consequence. 22,000 upvotes. So I want to ask you, with everything you just heard, what would you have done at that altar? Would you have walked away quietly? Or would you have raised your hand? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you want more stories like this, stories about real choices, real consequences, and real people who found their way back, you know what to do. I'm Dark Confessions. I'll see you in the next one.